Hello, my name is Paul Beach. I'm pleased to be invited back to read, and I'm going to, since this is October, I'm going to read a short story by a completely unknown author, Paul Beach, and it's called Sweet October. Just as Jennifer jostled with her backpack to rush out of the classroom door, she heard the bus backing into the parking slot. She knows that Mr. Kelsey would not wait. She missed it twice last week and had to walk the mile home, up the hill on Mean Street. She often wondered how it got that name, but she never asked. It was not a bad walk, but on the last quarter mile before her house, sweetly nestled in the edge of the woods next to the park, she had to go by Lucy Looney's house. Her name was really Lucy Lancey, but all the kids had this descriptive name for her, since the story was that she had been only spotted in her shrub and weed-infested yard during rainstorms, and usually it was late in the summer or early fall, just before Halloween. Then, and only then, she would come out between the hydrangeas and the untrimmed roses and dance, half naked, to the sound of drums playing through the doorway. No other human being was ever seen in her garden or even going through the front door of her house. While Jennifer fantasized that she had groceries delivered to her back door by a flying broomstick. There actually was a back door to her modest, rundown one-story ranch, although as far as Jennifer knew, no one ever saw her use it or take deliveries. The house needed paint, and the USPS mailman, Billy, had to navigate the rough cobblestone walkway to reach the mail slot in the black, decrepit door. Only once a month did he make the journey, unless the flag was up for outgoing mail. Lucy had lived there for a long time, since long before Jennifer was born. Jennifer had heard that Lucy Looney had a nephew, Larry, who was a cross-country truck driver. He came about once a month to check in on Lucy. He had also been seen bringing strange, large, oddly shaped packages into the back door. He never responded, even if passers-by may say hello to him. Well, Jennifer was just running out the school door to catch the bus when Lenny grabbed the loop on the back of her pack and dragged her to an abrupt stop. "Come with me," he whispered. "I'll miss the bus," she replied, a bit miffed. "No, come with me," he insisted. They watched from the edge of the playground as the bus pulled away. Mr. Kelsey was making a gesture of greeting, frustration, or obscenity. Jenny wasn't sure which. Lenny took her by the hand and led her to the bushes at the end of the school driveway. He finally spoke again. "Lucy Looney is eating children," he finally said, half whispering and half crying. "We have to prove it and then report it. If we just tell about it, no one will believe us. It's almost Halloween and we are just kids." He paused. "They will think we are just joking. No one else knows this, just me. I want you to help me get some pictures." Jennifer was trying to figure out if Lenny was serious or trying to be funny. As 8th graders, they had some experience with creative writing, humor, and appreciation of Halloween traditions, but Lenny was scaring her now. His face did not hint of any smile. He was sweating and his voice quivered as he said, "Come on, I found a way to see what's going on. I have been sneaking into her yard after school." Lenny led Jennifer up the road in near silence. to a pair of large flowering hollyhock bushes at the corner of Lucy's lot. He grabbed her hand and walked right into the middle of them. Her arm instinctively came up to protect her eyes and face, but in an instant, they emerged on the backside to see what looked like a small, well-worn trail. They crept along the trail, being careful to stay out of view of the shuttered windows. Just as they reached the edge of the shrubs near the rear of the house and could see the back door, nephew Larry came roaring up the driveway. He hurriedly jumped out of his battered pickup truck and unloaded several large boxes. Just as he was heading near the back door, he spotted Jennifer and Lenny. At that very moment, the back door of the house swung open, and there stood Lucy Looney. She was not more than 20 feet away, glaring at them. "Bring them pesky children in here," she commanded Lenny. Their impulse was to run, but they were frozen, mostly from fright and, frankly, partly from curiosity. Larry grabbed each one by an arm and escorted them into the kitchen. Pots and pans covered the table and the countertops. They could feel the heat from the partly opened door of the oven. "Sit," Lucy commanded. "Thank you, Lenny," she then quietly, glancing at the boxes he had just put on her table. "More kids?" she quietly inquired. "Last year's were pretty tasty, tender actually, but the freezer is nearly empty." Jennifer let out a little squeaky, mournful moan. Lenny tried to hold back tears. She and Lenny grabbed each other's hands and prepared for the worst. Larry did not respond except to lean in and closely look at the trembling interlopers. "Maybe they can join in," he finally said, smiling absent-mindedly, licking his lips. "What a sweet thought," said Lucy. She shuffled closer to look them directly in their eyes. "I see you walking past on the street and wondered what you would be like," she said to Jennifer quietly, patting her on her trembling head. "I think maybe we should go now," Lenny cried out. Right now. No, my dears. I so seldom see anyone. Why don't you stay for supper?" she said, licking her lips just as Larry had done. "Stay," they said in uniform. "What's on the menu?" Lenny cried. Lucy smiled and backed up to sit next to Larry. They smiled at each other. Larry then took Lucy's hand and gave it a gentle squeeze. Lucy leaned forward and began to explain. "Every Halloween, I prepare a very special meal. It helps me to remember when I was younger. My sister and her husband lived on a farm. They raised sheep and goats. We enjoyed goat milk, cheese, and goat steaks. At Halloween time, they butchered a young goat for a special celebration. My sister had a unique recipe for young, tender kid meat." Jennifer and Lenny looked at each other in amazed disbelief. "They do actually eat kids?" Lenny said under his breath, hoping not to be heard. Lucy continued, "Tragically, my sister and her husband were killed in a head-on collision on Route 112 10 years ago. Their son Larry here survived the crash. A neighbor took over the goat farm. Larry brings me some farm products whenever he can between his cross-country trips. He is the only family I have. Since I moved here, I have not gotten to know anyone else. Larry impatiently interrupted, Lucy really misses being with people, but has no friends here. Lucy, obviously enjoying having an audience, continued, When I was much younger, I worked as a volunteer nurse on the Native American reservations in Kansas and Oklahoma. In this season, at harvest time, I refresh and enrich my memories of those wonderful times and experiences by doing some of the ritual dances in my yard. It reminds me of the wonderful people I worked with back then. That TV there is now my window to the outside world, Lucy said quietly. Larry got it for me last year. I have been living alone for the last 25 years since my husband died mysteriously. It would be wonderful if you two nice kids, that is children, could come back and visit sometime. Well, the four of them talked for the next hour or so, not realizing how much time was passing. After sharing details about their school and life in this small town, Lenny and Jennifer promised to come again the next day for a special Halloween dinner. At home, they told their parents about Lucy and Larry. Jennifer's mom prepared some traditional side dishes, and Lenny agreed to bring his mom's favorite pie. Larry took the day off, giving up a well-paying delivery to Toronto. The four of them ate Lucy's special Halloween dinner of kid stew, told stories about the reservations, the goat farm, school activities, and more. They laughed a lot and left with hugs and promises to stop often on their way up Mean Street. Jennifer proposed missing the bus on nice days so that she could walk home with a stop to see Lucy. Mr. Kelsey got used to seeing Jennifer walking and now just greeted her with a salute. In school, the word got around that Jennifer and Lenny had met Lucy Looney. Does she really eat kids? They demanded to know. Without stopping to explain, Lenny and Jennifer would lean in close to their faces and say quietly, yes. And then they would take a step away, turn, lick their lips, and scream, and so do we. Then they would turn and run down the hall and plan their next visit for their new friend on Mean Street. Lucy has invited to Thanksgiving dinner at Jennifer's house. Together, they were planning what would be on the menu. Perhaps vegetarian, maybe turkey. No goat, not this year.